Every time we do a summon video, I want to say it's Saturday. You know what that means. Most of these are not on Saturday, so I really shouldn't, unless it's Saturday when you're seeing this. I have no idea. But today we're doing summons for John Gotti NFG. What we're going to do today is we're going to just review some of the monsters. We used to do this. We're going to do this new monster raid up. It's almost done. 21 hours left. You're probably seeing this in the future. They disappeared. The trace disappeared. Did you see? You saw that. Oh, well, half the people are watching this as listening to it as a podcast, so you didn't see it. The trees disappeared, though. Man, I want to build some more of those, I want to build one of those fire penguins. We got we got lightning. It's a wind succubus, which I don't think I've ever built that unit, because she's always been, she did get changed. She was a dud before, to me. I was like, I don't really see the point of her. Well, succubuses in general got changed a couple times. She got changed personally, and then also they stopped a long time ago. They did a patch where they can attack things without waking them up under sleep. But yeah, we got all these. Look, the plants are gone. I'm offended by that. But the wind succubus is, I've seen people use her as a Hathor replacement. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the strip like Hathor does with the skill 2, which is, to be honest, kind of nice sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I was trying to use the fire Hypnomeow, and I was like, man, it'd be really nice if this had a strip on, like at least a single target strip, just in case the other things don't work. Be nice to have something, or attack gauge reduction too. It's like it's definitely not a Hathor replacement. Wind Taos is not bad. I think people don't give him enough credit. I think I was using him in TOA Hell a little bit as well. I might have actually done that on video, so. Hey, Orang. Orang's kind of not a very fun, she could be effective, she's just not a very fun unit. She's really good for the Ice Beast. She can also be, she's got a good leader skill, she's got big damage, she's got multiple debuffs, and then also she has self-sustain, so you can put her in the front row. Excuse me. And you have Water Samurai, which we got, which is, he does single target speed-based damage. He's a water unit single target. He's really not as effective as so many other units that do the job much better. Like, why would you use him instead of anything else? Why would you use him instead of the water sniper? You wouldn't. that's the reality. You really wouldn't. Or like, really, and like Stella, she does multi hits, right? She does some debuffs as well. So well, he does defense break and things, but yeah. Adrian already awakened. So Adrian is a decent unit for Adrian's the Fire Ranger, Fire Elven Ranger. He's a decent unit for Necropolis. He's also a decent unit. He's got the speed and crit rate buff, which is nice, especially for people. I think we were using it on free to win before we deleted that. Man, I don't regret that at all. I thought I was going to regret deleting the free to win account. I don't regret it. I thought I was going to regret deleting the China account. I don't regret it. Like, I just think back and I'm like, that was absolutely the right decision to just delete those accounts completely. There are many decisions that I've made in life where I'm like, I don't know if that was the right decision, or like, oh, that was the wrong decision. That decision to delete those two accounts, absolutely, I absolutely believe that was the right decision in both cases. It freed up time, which I would have been even more stressed right now if I was still trying to farm on those accounts. It freed up time, and we really weren't doing content on those anyway, because let's face it, no one cares about early game content anymore. So, although there are new players finally coming to Summoner's War with all the advertising they're doing, but yeah. What was I saying? Oh, the fire Elven Ranger. Yeah, he does continuous damage. He does speed buff. He does crit rate buff, which is pretty decent for Necropolis for like an early game player team. So we got, what do we get here? Water Anubis. Water Anubis is a decent Guild War Guild Siege unit. He kills things. They don't get revived. So anti-Nana, which a lot of people have a hard time with, and they're like, oh, Nana's too OP, need to nerf her. It's like, just bring counters to Nana. There are some counters. Tissaron is a counter to Nana. Wind Demon is a counter to Nana. You can even use... I mean, you could use the Dark Amazon, but she suffers from not having crazy... like, she's not very tanky, so... What do we get here? Nothing? Oh, Rune Blacksmith. So basically nothing. The Water Rune Blacksmith. She needs... I see the point in her. I see the potential. She needs more. She doesn't need to be changed to a different kind of thing. Like, she just needs... As a turn 2 bruiser style unit, she needs to do more than just increase accuracy and resistance. She increases the accuracy too, right? I think she increased the accuracy too. She just needs to do more, aside from that. Because, I mean, sometimes the accuracy and resistance increase could just be nothing. Like, you could still... Like, your opponents could still land debuffs on you regardless. So, yeah. She has potential long term. But, I mean, we'll see if they actually buff her. They don't need to change her. They just need to make her a stronger version of what she is. And she could be actually pretty decent. She just needs to do a little bit more. Again, Winged Harpy. I don't think I've ever built that. Water Bear Man. I don't think... I remember there was one dude in my first guild that was like... swore that the Water... He was like, the Water Bear Man's so good. He carried me early game. He carried me because he's got his damage mitigation passive. He helped me beat so many things. This is like 8 years ago, though. This is like 8 years ago. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to build him. Like, no, I'm not saying build him. I'm saying this is like 8 years ago. He swore. I still never built the unit, though. Maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I should build the Water Bear Man. Ooh! Very nice. We just did we did a couple videos about him recently. So. Very nice. He wants Tiana, though. Hold on. Let me actually see what he wants. Tiana over everything. Other yays. Carnal, Moore, Douglas, Shung Pung. Water or Fire Shadow Masters. Hey, there we go. Shadow Masters. Shadow Masters? Lols. We got the Wind Shadowcaster, by the way. Use Better Judgment, but Tiana is priority. It'll be a win even with one Nat 5 from 500 scrolls if it's Tiana. Well, we did already get one at the very least, so. And it's one on your wish list. So even if we just get one more, then if it is more, lulz. Wind Frankenstein. I should use that Fire Vagabond more. I'm in two ways about it, right? Like, I think that he's got some potential, but also the Fire Vagabond is, like, you could just use, like, Chilling against that. You could use a Jeer against that. You could use things that people already have, so, like, if you try to put it on defense. Let's just start another battle. Let's do one of these. Let's do one of those. You guys like Bagel. We listened to it as a podcast. We don't know what one of these, one of those is. I know. I like to frustrate you. Man, I'm so hungry today. See, I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat because I get too excited about eating and I eat too much. All right. Oh, first one. Oh, it's a Fire Jawa. That's a Jawa. Guys, that's a Jawa. Don't tell me that's not. Don't tell me Poison Masters are not Jawas. Still, he is such a niche counter. Oh my god. I feel like he was intended to be decent at, like, dragons. Nope. Is useless. He does do things. It's just the situations where you would use him are almost non-existent. You're not going to use him in dragons because we have one team that you use for dragons nowadays. They made the meta where it's like, and even if you needed multiple teams for, like, even if there was not a straightforward, like, just use Trikaru, right? Still, like, you wouldn't want the dragon to start taking turns. So you need the dragon and the tower to start taking turns before that. And then you also would need the strip, and he's got a strip, but he might not use the strip when he's supposed to use the strip. And then the only other situation that he would be useful is like if you're going up against a Rika or a Melia in PvP. Like, you know, no one's going up against a Melia in PvP. If you're going up against a Rika in PvP, there's not a whole lot of situations where you're going up against Rika. And in the situation that you are going up against her, she could just stun you. And then you don't get a chance to use your AoE skill of throwing all those dots back. He's just so situational. Living Arm. Man, I haven't used Copper in a while. There's new Copper teams that people have been using. What is it? What is the new Copper teams? There is a new Copper team now. Not with her. Olivia. People haven't really been using Olivia too much. I mean, I'm sure they have. There you go. You got 2/3 of a team. You got actually, Olivia Copper basically works by itself. Now you just need something else. Olivia Copper, and then something to deal with the fire threats on defense. I'm talking like for Guild War, Guild Siege. So it's been so long. I'm sure people are still using Olivia Copper. Not everything is high-level Siege, right? Even in high-level Siege, I'm sure people are still using Olivia Copper. I haven't seen any personally, but I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Chloe's a fun unit. She's definitely better than... She used to be good. Then people were like, Chloe. And then she got a speed buff, and then she's has more turns on her immunity. Rena, though. Rena's not really a thing anymore. Sad for Rena. Erwin, what does he take? Half damage? Attack damage you receive will be decreased by half, and your attack power and attack speed increased for 1 turn. Yeah. Not that it guarantees him like an extra, like a turn next whenever he's attacked or whatever. Or increases attack age. Like Susanoo increases attack age. Jubel increases attack age. He's just like, I'll increase my speed and then just die the next enemy that hits me, because I'm not going to get a turn anytime soon. So Susanoo and Jubel are just better versions of him. Similar style. So Sophia used to be good, right? She's got the multi-hit. She's got big single target win damage. She's got the multi-hit defense breaks. Used to be good. Stopped being good because everything changed. Continuous damage, giant speed 12, and then just like she wasn't really anything in PvP. But now Sophia's actually, if you want to run that team, depending on what kind of Giants team you want to run, I do run Sophia in Giants for my main. I run a very specific comp. I've done a video on it as well. Giants V12 with Sophia, and just because it's big damage and it's so many hits that between her and the Water Poison Master, like you're most likely going to you're going to defense break most of the time, right? Because it's like between the both of them, I think 7 hits. So if you miss all 7 defense breaks, let's face it, it is Summoner's War. It does happen, but you have to miss 7 breaks between Sophia with good AI, because Sophia's got perfect AI as long as she has full HP. So she's always going to do her multi-hit defense break in Giants against the mid-boss and the end boss. So if you miss all of her defense breaks, and then you also miss the Water Poison Master defense breaks, then the team can fail. You're like, yeah, it's probably gonna fail. It's probably gonna fail. But I've been running that team for a while now. It's good. It's fast. It sucks up all my crystals. I don't know how good that is, but yeah. Still don't get any runes from farming, but we have Fire Cannon Girl. So Fire Cannon Girl, she did get buffed. She still needs more. I don't think that she necessarily needs to be a different unit, like different skills. I think that I see the purpose of her. I just think that she still needs to be like tweaked to be a little bit stronger of herself. But I do think that she has potential. She also heard that those multi-hits, man, pretty solid. Stella, really nice unit, does damage based on speed. She's a water single target damage dealer. She does multi-hit. She does attack gauge decrease. She does... Stella's actually really good for Triana and Twins towers in Siege. So definitely Stella worth building, absolutely, if you're going to be doing Siege content. What Would I use Stella? I feel like Stella might actually be decent in, like with Gani Hathor teams. As long as you still have enough strips. Stella could be, because Stella actually does nicely against... A lot of counters to Gani Hathor are fire and water units with passives. So that's why Barbara is strong there. That's why Ajir was strong there. That's why... Ajir is still strong there. But that's why water units with... like Water Chimera is strong there. Right? So I feel that Stella, for a very similar reason, she does very similar things to those units. I feel like she would be actually strong there. I think that one of the things that works against her... And she also has a defense break, too. She has defense break. She's got Brand. She's got multi-hit attack gauge reduction. I think one of the things that works against her is just that she's a 4-star and her stats aren't as good as, like, Water Chimera. Or, like, Mina or Barbara, right? She doesn't have the second life like Barbara. But I think she can be useful there. Fire Neostone Agent. I've seen some people tinker around with the Fire Neostone Agent. Oh, I'm talking so much. We're reviewing every monster in Summoner's War. Skill 1 glancing. Okay. Fire Neostone Agent could be fun with Vertiheal, Oracles, situation for PvP. She's okay for R5 teams. What else? I don't know that I really use her for much aside from that. I did use her back in the day on one of my alts for dragons. Fire Rune Blacksmith. I'm surprised she kind of like stopped being a thing. Fire Rune Blacksmith, Wind Rune, the Wind Blacksmith obviously was changed, right? But the Fire Rune Blacksmith, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Because she was getting a lot of hype. There's all this stuff that gets a lot of hype as soon as it gets released. And then after a while, people are like, oh, I don't care about it anymore. I don't care about that. Fire Grim Reaper. It's challenging to farm Fire Grim Reaper early game. Because they're like, oh, just do Grim Reaper. Like, that's one of the things in the missions early game is, oh, do Fire Grim Reaper level 5. It's like... If you're early game, you don't have the units for level 5 to farm the Fire Grim Reaper. If some of you might be early game or coming back to the game after being gone for a long time and managed to make it this far in the video, you might agree. Right? Logan. There's so many good wind units, though. That's kind of... I think Logan could be okay. I have one. He's okay sometimes. I prefer Ryan, absolutely, though. Much more than Logan. Logang. Lols. I wonder... Logang is Logan Paul. I wonder what he's up to. Roger, Wind Sniper. Wind, what's his face? Now I'm just tired. Hey, Vertiheal. I might build another Vertiheal on my main. I have 2 Vertiheals on the Europe. I might build another one on the main. So Wind Sniper, actually, Comtwas did kind of start discussing in one of their update videos, one of their Dimension Hole dev note things that they were going to do. They were talking about like what things that they wanted to do in the Dimension, the new Dimension Sacreon? Is that what it's called? And they were talking about Amazons, they were talking about bounty hunters, and I do believe that the Amazons and bounty hunters are actually going to be in there. I mean, they are physically in there in the dungeon for you to fight, which is an indication that they're probably going to be 2A'd at some point. Because that's just been how it has gone so far. But, hey, Fire Dice Magician. This is doo-doo monsters. Fire Dice Magician, Water Gargoyle. I personally don't like the Fire Dice Magician. I think that people were giving him too much hype back in the day. They're like, oh, Fire Dice Magician. I'm like, nah. I built one. Oh, I built 2. And I was like, I can't get into him. I just couldn't get excited about him. He was in some siege bases for a bit as well. Like G3 siege bases, but yeah, those bounty hunters and Amazons are most likely going to be second awakened at some point. Probably not anytime soon. Probably at the very least a year and a year and a half. Maybe something like that. Because I just see them rotating to adding things to other dimensions first that already came out, and then going to the, and then maybe like a year from now doing the next dimension. So I see that being the situation. I wonder if they'll add the next dimension after SWC this year. Nah, I think that's too soon. Compto has been pushing things back and back and back. As far as actual gameplay stuff, they've been pushing things back and back and back and back. So they probably won't do anything anytime soon for the next 2A dimension. We were supposed to get update 7 a while ago. The update 7 is just, they're just not focused on it. They're like, yeah, Summoner's War Chronicles. It's like, what are you specifically doing in Summoner's War Chronicles? They're like, because they didn't really do anything from the beta or from the alpha or whatever to like now it being released overseas in certain regions. People that played the alpha and early builds, they're like, it's really not changed. Nothing changed. Like the actual influences that are like that work with CompTOS directly, they're like, things didn't change. Like I talked to several of them, they're like, it's not, nothing changed. It's like the same game. They didn't really change much. So, but I mean, I guess from the, like if it's a beta test to a release, that's one thing. But if it's like, it was earlier in development than betas or alphas. Hey, Hiva is really not too much of a thing. He could be, but yeah. I wonder if he would be decent in the current. I think there's more things that we can actually try in the current meta. I think I should try them. So, what else are we talking about? Oh, Nat 5. We got a Wind Weapon Master. Very nice, very nice. I kind of, as much as I crap on the 10 pulls, I kind of like that I don't have to keep clicking, can just look at the screen and talk about other stuff. I'm so lazy. I'm like, let's do a summon video, which is the laziest form of content, and then let's not even click on the screen, which is the laziest way of doing the laziest form of content. In reality, though, I'm not the one. I don't like decide like, oh, I'd love to do a summon video today. It's like, people ask me to do summon videos, and I'm like, okay, I'll do. They're like, you please do summons on my account. I'm like, okay. So that's why I do summon videos. Not that I'm like, summon videos are the best content. I'm like, no, I'd rather do gameplay, and I'd rather do like analysis videos, things like that, math videos, charts and graphs. You guys are like, no, charts and graphs are worse than summons. Oh god. Okay, Wind Weapon Master. Honestly, aside from his leader skill, I feel like I would just rather have Royd. I feel like I would rather have Logan. I feel like I would rather have a lot of things than him. Personally, that's just me. I know some people really like him. I would rather have so much more stuff. I would rather have Feng Yin. I would rather have Xingzhe. Hey, Fire Hat Boy. Fire Phantom Thief is actually not a bad unit. He's a pretty decent unit. There have been times I de-runed him, and there have been times where I'm like, man, I really wish I still had runes on the Fire Phantom Thief, and I don't have enough time to go and try to take runes off something else to try to put runes on him. So he's a pretty decent unit. I would recommend, like, if you got a bunch of Phantom Thieves, Water 1 is really good. A lot of people like the Water 1. Fire 1 is also really good. Dark 1 is also not bad. Light 1 I hate. Wind 1, I just feel like there's better units for the job that most people have. If you don't have a bunch of AoE CCs already, Wind 1 has AoE CCs, AoE crowd control, which is pretty good. Fire 1 just does a lot of single target fire damage. He also has stuns. So. Talking too much, man. Water Drunken Master. Another one that I think is pretty solid. I think those Drunken Masters are pretty solid. I don't think they have any intention of doing those Drunken Masters 2As anytime soon. I don't think they would even have them in any of the current dimensions. Hey, Water Horse. Water Horse Katarina. There are still some places you can use Water Horse Katarina. there are still some places you can still use that. And that does a lot of damage. That's not quite the same as Lucian, so it does have advantages over Lucian in some instances, where they're like, I'm gonna mitigate enough damage to stop a Lucian attack. It's like, well, Lucian attack is not a Katarina attack. So, in Katarina, you could focus on certain things, right? So if you're using an aerial, or you're using a water... Oh my goodness. Why is my brain mush now? Oh. The water druid. Abellio. If you're using those, a decent unit could be Katarina against some of those comps, right? And there are some instances where you can actually get away with having a shield will with that. Also, Odin is not bad with that, right? Because it kills something, it stacks Odin. Water sniper is also pretty good at that, because, you know, a lot of those situations they have fire threats. So water sniper is pretty good with that. Then he gets the attack power buff and the crit rate buff, and then you don't need to worry about maxing out your crit rate on those things, right? So not bad. Trevor, maybe I don't give Trevor enough credit. I don't know. So we were talking about the wind bounty hunter. Let's put these in storage. Before, when I was like, oh yeah, new second awaken stuff. It's gonna be a wind bounty hunter, or bounty hunters in general. Some of those are gonna be super meta. Remember, they ignore defense on skill 1, so any additional stats mean they ignore defense for more damage on skill 1. So revenge, ignore defense, not bad. Defense buff, crit buff. Could be okay in certain instances. Defense buff is not as strong as it used to be. As far as the fire one, those multi-hits can go crazy on some of them, over and over and over and over and over again. Additional damage on those multi-hits could help, you know, just pure damage, right? Is not bad if you build them tanky. And we got basically nothing here. Kun, the water golem, does freeze. He does single target CC with his first skill and then freeze, and then he has damage mitigation passive. But the wind bounty hunter. Let's talk about the bounty hunters again, because I want to talk about the bounty hunters. Could be very solid. Hey, Window Animusha, pretty decent unit for Guild Siege, and also RTA and some bruiser comps. So, what else? Like if you have Molong, Molly, and Window Animusha, solid defense, as long as they're tanky enough. Make them fast, make them tanky. Give them a lot of HP, a lot of speed, resistance, defense. So one of the issues to that is you can destroy the HP, but not everyone brings a whole bunch of destroy. And then we got the Fire Boomerang. Fire Boomerang still does a lot of CC. I think she's an underrated unit. People just stopped using her because, oh, twins got nerfed. She didn't get nerfed. The other twins got modified. They're still strong. And people were talking about Shayna as if Shayna was gonna not exist anymore. She's like, oh, Shayna got nerfed. That means she's not gonna be usable anymore at all. Shayna's still being used in Guild Siege all the time. She's still used plenty. You can still use in Necropolis as well. Those. I mean, Shayna was like a kind of a cheat code for a lot of people that had, you know, for Dragons B10 back before even B12 was out. Was for, yeah, before B12 was out, right? She got nerfed. But yeah, back in the day, Shayna was just like made that super easy. Shayna, Sabrina, Vertiheel. What was it? Shayna, Sabrina, Vertiheel, Galleon, and something else. I don't remember what the last one was. I think the last one was like a floater unit. Like sometimes it was Khali, sometimes it was Spectra, sometimes it was, you know, things like that. Oh, first one, lightning. Again, back to the bounty hunters. Back to the bounty hunters. Two of those do attack gauge in different ways. They do attack gauge increase. So the water one just straight up does attack gauge, does speed boost. Kind of like Bernard, right? Water version of Bernard that ignores defense. And it's got those crazy skill 2s that might just insta-nuke everything. Could be very nasty. Wind Jack-O-Lantern. Wind Jack-O-Lantern is a fantastic unit for for Guild Siege, because he can't be defense broken now. After the buff. Before the buff, he was nothing. But now that he can't be defense broken, that all of a sudden makes a unit viable, right? Defense unit that can't be defense broken. He can still be ignored defense, so don't take him into things that do ignore defense on defense. But he's pretty decent on defense. And you could run him with just wacky. I have him on the worst Swift set you've ever seen, just because I wanted some speed and stats on him. He doesn't need to go turn 1. I just wanted him to be, I was like, I have Swift runes that have value, but like plus 15 speed is like, but it's got other stats. It's got tankiness. It's got other things. So I'm like, let's just put this on him. So, yeah. You don't want to do the same thing for RTA. RTA, it's got to be very deliberate, very efficient, very everything. But for Guild Siege, when you got like 9 million units you need to be ruined, you can get away with some of those things if there's specific instances where you can get away with it, as long as he's got enough stats of some kind. You don't necessarily need certain rune sets. Wind Sniper. I mean, Water Sniper. More lightning! Okay, I'll take a lightning. This guy, actually, he got buffed. We used him after he got buffed. There's so much stuff that's like we use after he gets buffed, and then we stop talking about it, stop looking at it, stop doing anything with it after that. Why? I'm not entirely sure. Just because, our focus is on whatever else the new big thing is. But the Water Vampire is actually solid now. He's actually can be used and be good at things. So... So Water Vampire now. He doesn't have it when he's awakened. He has a skill 3, does defense breaks. Let's take a look. I don't want to take a look. You stupid skill 3. Attacks enemies 5 times. All enemies 5 times. Will always land as a critical hit on fire monsters, with each attack having a 20% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns. Damage increases as the enemy's HP status decreases. New monster rate up. Yeah, I've been doing new monster rate up. Hopefully we get a Tiana. At the very least, something similar-ish to Tiana. This is a nice unit. This Astra, the Fire Magic Knight, is a really good unit for Necropolis, B12. She does a lot of AoE damage. She's really good with Trikaru. Super easy. Super easy cheesy. Everything just teams up with her. She does a bunch of damage. She does a bunch of multi-hits. And wins. Alright. What else did we get? Oh! I still didn't finish talking about the bounty hunters because we keep getting sidetracked. Yes, speaking of bounty hunters. Wind 1. Multi-hits. Does attack gauge boost. I feel like Wind 1 will get... Because they were buffed at some point. Where the Wind didn't used to do attack gauge boost all time. I feel like the Wind 1 is going to get the most treatment when they get Second Awaken. And then the Dark 1. Dark 1, first off, ignore defense, skill 1. Multi-hits, skill 2. That could potentially just go crazy. And then skill 3, cleanse and 3-turn attack power buff. The Dark 1, with more stats, is actually... He's going to be good regardless. He's gonna be good regardless. Just having more stats is gonna make him useful, even if his skills stay the same. Hey, what do we get? Water cannon goes pretty good. She's got multi-hit defense break. She's got multi-hit attack gauge pushback skill 1. She's got strip block beneficial effects now too, if I recall correctly. Attack gauge reduction on skill 3. Pretty decent unit. And then the light bounty hunter. Since we were talking again about the bounty hunters. Oh, Fire Samurai. Fire Samurai does a defense break. Big damage defense break on skill 3. Also. Not a terrible unit. I know the more exciting ones are the light and dark samurais, but still, Fire Samurai is not bad for a 4-star. Big AoE damage. Bounty hunters. Light 1. Okay, so Light 1 has a speed lead. Also has a strip with skill 2. Strip and attack gauge increase. I feel like after the Second Awakening, the second skill of the Light Bounty Hunter is going to be significantly modified to be like, oh, that's interesting. That's worth taking a look at. He's got the same skill 1 multi-hit ignore defense. Light Bounty Hunter, but he does have a speed lead, which the other ones don't have. And he does a skill 3, which stuns and resets the skill cool times of one unit. So, kind of like Platy, who's amazing. I think Platy is really good. But yeah, if you gotta worry about things like, I feel like oh my goodness, I feel like the Light Bounty Hunter is actually decent against Eladriel, Juno, Theomar's bases nowadays are a thing. I feel like the Light Bounty Hunter could be effective against those. I just realized that as I was thinking about it. I'm like Platy, like we used her the other day against the Eladriel. I'm like, she would shut down Eladriel, she would shut down Theomar's. So, I mean, the Light Bounty Hunter walkers. Or whatever, I don't know, it's 2022, whatever they want to be. I'm not going to argue anything at this point. I'm not going to argue. Hey, we got Khali. Fine. Khali is just Khali. Khali is a must-build unit. He's just solid. He's a good bruiser. He does good damage. You don't have to worry about critting, not critting. Can't really think about too many good Khali counters. The way to counter Khali is kill him before he gets a turn. That's it. Kill him before he gets a turn. Shields. Attack power break. I mean, he's not Lucian, right? But sometimes he's better than Lucian, depending on the situation. That's why he's so effective. You can use him on defense. Like, there are places where you don't necessarily need to use Khali. But one of the nice things about Khali, there's so many nice things about Khali. They're really, it sounds weird. Out of context, that sounds weird. There's so many nice things about Khali. I don't know where we got kicked out. Let's continue. Let's just talk about, I think we were talking about Khali. How much I love Khali. We'll see what did it even register, the summons that we did, or no? I don't think it did. Did it? We get logged out before we even did anything. Good question. Yeah, there's just Khali is useful in so many different places. You can use him on arena offense. You can use him on arena defense. You can use him in RTA for a bruiser team. You can use him in RTA for a cleave team. You can use him for Dimension Predator. You can use him for a lot of the stuff in the Dimension Hole. You can use him as a farmer. You can use him as Guild War offense, Guild Siege offense, Guild War and Guild Siege defense. You can use him for, let's continue to summon before we get kicked out again. You can use him for Labyrinth. You can use him, like, there's so many places you can use him. Maybe not, he's not the greatest unit for TOA. I guess if you're, it is still decent for regular TOA for clearing it fast. But like for TOA hard, not the greatest unit. For Giants, B12, not the greatest unit. For Necropolis, not the greatest unit. But he's still, watch, someone's gonna be like, oh, for Necropolis, I have a Khali, triple Khali team. Good old triple Khali teams. He's just such a solid, such a solid unit. There's no downside to building Khali. Such a good unit. All those Onimushas are good. All those Onimushas are good. Water one, a lot of people using as like a budget version of the light one as well. Water battle. I wonder, with all the additional, like, there's a lot of things that do damage with additional damage. Excuse me. I wonder if the water battle mammoth is actually more exciting now than he was. More useful, more effective, because he's going to mitigate that damage with his passive. Back in the beginning of the game, people were like, or when he first came up, people were like, oh, water battle mammoth is so good. So good, so OP, so OP. Then again, they were also putting like Camila and Chandra on arena defense, so it was a very different situation back then. The game was Much different. I've heard people say that it was just like free Guardian back then. That's not quite the situation. It wasn't just free Guardian. You just get the Guardian without worrying about it just by putting anything on defense. Like that's not how it was. But yeah, I actually do think it's interesting. Maybe not interesting. I don't know. They changed. So Guardian has always been the same for, I believe it's always been the same, like no matter how many people were actively playing. So like the game first came out, there wasn't that many people playing at the very beginning, and then it got all this buzz about it, and then more people got into it, and I'm like, oh, this is actually like an RPG, like Final Fantasy or whatever, but like you also get to ruin your monsters to suit your specific needs, and they were very excited about that because that was new back then, right? So a lot of people got into it, but they didn't really change anything in the ranking after all these people got into it. They just kept it from what it was at launch. So I just feel like some of the rankings in some games in general should be shifted based on the amount of players that are playing. Like if you have 100 people playing and the top 10 players get something special, then that's 10% of the player base that gets something special. But if you have, I'm just using this as an example, I'm not saying Summoners War had 100 people playing in the beginning, but if you have 1 million people playing and the top 10 get something special, then that's like 1 in 100,000 people get something special. It's like almost nobody. It's basically nobody at that point gets something special. So yeah, I think that a lot of rankings in games should be based on percentages, like being in the top X percent of players. I know that people are going to be like, oh, they do that for RT. Like, I know they do that for RT. I'm just saying, in general, these games should consider doing more percentage-based rankings and the rewards instead of, like, number-based ones. So I get the top 100 ranks being the top 100 players. Like, it's obvious that's only going to be 100. But as far as rewards for certain things, should be percentage based. Cocky. We got those 2 Nat 5s. Do we get more Nat 5s? We got 29 wins as well. Couple win legendaries. Let's go. Oh, then we got to do a manual. Oh. I don't want to click the button, guys. I'm way too lazy for that. Wind Puree. We already talked about her. I'm excited for the other, like the the bounty hunters in general, the Amazons in general. I'm excited about any 2As because I want to see how units change that have not been a part of the meta. Like, who cared about the Wind Cat before? Not the Wind Cat, or any. Yeah, the Wind Cat too. Who cared about any of these cats before, like martial cats before 2As? Who cared about a lot of stuff before the 2As? Oh, what was that? I know it's just packs, things to buy. There's a lot of stuff that was just like absolutely nothing before. Some of these things were still popular before the 2As, but some of these things were nothing until the 2As came around, and then they're like, oh, by the way, these things are actually useful now. Like her. No one cared about her until she was 2A, and people were like, oh, she's good now. Him, no one cared about him until he was 2A, and now he's like everywhere. Broyd, no one cared about him at all until he was 2A. What else? There's a lot of things some people still don't care about. This is better now. This people actually care about. Gina, people actually care about now that it's 2A. Although, sadly, people are getting better at countering Gina. I think that this one is kind of underrated, Jumaline. She's still a solid unit. Still a solid unit. There are some things that people still don't care about, though. To be real. This one is now so much, like, ridiculously better. Ridiculous. This one is ridiculously better after 2. No. After 2A, so. 29. He wants Tiana. Let's go. Last ones. And then we have... Yeah, now is when we get to skip. Now is when we don't talk about anything and we just get to skipping everything. Wind Werewolf. Wind Werewolf's an interesting unit. He's got very fast base speed. So if you can catch your opponent off will, he can increase the cool times by just attacking them. As part of his passive, he increases the cool times. So with 115 base speed, you can get him 300 plus speed. Some of you are like, yeah, I've been playing the game for a week. I can't get him to plus 300. Oh, well, they give you some good runes at the very beginning. So, if you can get a Bernard to like 295, you can get a Shakan to whatever. See, now I feel bad for clicking that stupid thing. Oh. Let's not click it again. Let's not. Just in case. Okay. Oh, he's gonna be so... In his mind, I feel like he's gonna be like, that was my Tiana, bro. Why'd you do the SP summon button? I feel like he's gonna think that. I mean, it also could have been any other of these, like, 30 units or whatever. How many units are here? Like 30. Yeah, like 30-ish. Whatever. 30-ish. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. We did get 3 things for him. We got 3 things. He didn't have any LDs or anything. That's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope he enjoys his stuff. I think he's going to enjoy this more. We'll see. We'll see if he enjoys this. Anyway, that's for this one. We'll see you as always in the next one.